Um, right. Anyway, so I recorded this podfic of this Doctor Who story I'd written. And because David Tennant, who is Scottish, does a London accent in Doctor Who, I felt incredibly compelled to do his London accent. Which, I mean, he as a Scot is much better at doing a London accent than I as an American am at doing a London accent. But I totally tried. And I can even play you a little clip of it so you can make fun of me.
Go for it.
But there was just no way I could record my space boyfriend and not use the voice that I heard in my head. You know what I mean? You just can't do it without hearing the voice you heard in your head. All right, I'm going to play for you a little bit of my podfic. Because it's hilarious.
By Sabine.
And as always,
By Sabine.
I sound like a cross between Jane Lane from Daria and someone crying. Or possibly Jane Lane from Daria crying.
I got zapped by a solar flare, he brags at her. Bet you never saw anyone do that before. Martha sits on the TARDIS railing and swings her legs. Didn't even see you do it, she says. Could have been a strong breeze that knocked you down by the time I found you. The doctor lunges for a control lever, pirouetting on one toe and throwing his whole body across the TARDIS console. Yep, he agrees, a little breathless. Fell by a strong wind, that's me. Martha leaps down and slides in beside him. Give me that stethoscope, she says, rooting in his
I couldn't
jacket
do
pocket.
Martha's accent and Tennant's accent also. So Martha gets to be American in this story, or some sort of fucked up American in this story. But this is also something I want to practice. The problem is that was my only story that has a lot of Tennant doctor dialogue in it. So I have to ask, people frequently record podfics of other people's stories. In fact, this adorable girl from Germany recorded a podfic of my story that was from the point of view of the doctor's severed hand. So I want to ask other fan people who have doctor stories to allow me to podfic them, and I think nobody would want to subject their story to me trying to do David Tennant's London accent. But how will I improve if I don't keep practicing?
And the necessity to perfect the David Tennant accent is...
I'll show you.
I thought the whole
I'll
thing was that
show ya.
you're busy being an American.
I am busy being American, but I also... let me give you a little clip of David Tennant, who's Scottish, doing an American accent in his audiobook. You ready?
Yes.
Your wonderful new troopers were supposed to make the difference, Lenova. You promised that. And yet I feel the campaign is slipping away. Lenova heaved her fat arms onto the table.
That's his natural accent.
These troopers are unique. Brudge's temper flared, and that's the only reason I allowed you to try your medical procedures on the injured and dying,
Holy crap, it's
purebreds and
John McClane.
halflings alike.
I know.
With
It's not his
remarkable
fault.
results.
He's no Hugh Laurie
To
or
Lenova,
Damian Lewis yet.
silkily. Yet they have to travel further.
But
and
that actually
further
makes me
into
feel
enemy
better.
territory.
Like, if he could do a
Why won't
perfect
you move
American
this
accent,
mobile hospital nearer
I
to
need
the
to be
front?
part of what
If we get boots on the
schools
ground
him
faster, we can wipe out
I need to be part of what schools him in doing his American accent. But you see how the point is, that's the standard to which I am holding myself when I'm recording podfic, is David Tennant's ability to do a million voices, despite the fact that he's a professional actor and I'm not.
And had multiple takes, no doubt.
And had multiple takes and has been studying performing and does this sort of thing for a living. So I will never sound as good as David Tennant reading these things. But I certainly want to try to do voices when I'm reading these. And I like doing my doctor voice. It's, important to sound like the doctor.